Danny Bass, how you doing? Lee, how you doing, Lee? Curios. Oh, he's an Aussie. Nice. Well, I'm just across the ditch in New Zealand. Hey folks, you're just joining on. I'm just getting myself going here. I think at first when I started, my bass might have not been coming through. It's possible, because I had another audio setting selected and I forgot to change it. So, can everyone hear the bass properly? Hopefully it's not clipping. No, it doesn't look like it is. Adjust this front pickup a little. Bring it just a little closer. Alright, that feels better. Okay, good. I'm glad you can hear things. Anyway, folks, welcome to the Tuesday edition, even though it's actually Wednesday. I was busy yesterday, and so that's why I'm here tonight instead, 24 hours later. But hey, better late than never, right? I figured, hey, let's do it anyway. But welcome to this edition of my weekly live stream. This is the usual, the bass hang that I do here on my channel twice a week, whenever I can, which is most of the time, really. And so, if you got any questions about bass playing, just throw it down in the chat. Whether they're beginner questions or advanced questions, whatever. Anything you want to know, I'll do my best to help you out. I encourage very nerdy, technical questions as well about bass playing, whether it's about gear, techniques, concepts, playing gigs, recording your bass, anything like that. Please pop it down in the chat. This is what we love to do. And I'd also like to remind you all too, because, and this is something that I'm actually wanting, that I'm doing for the month of August. So anytime during my live streams, you can get 10% off any of my one-on-one bass lessons. So if you want to take a one-off lesson with me, or my bass coaching and mentoring program, as long as it's during the live stream that I do twice a week, you can use the code LIVE10 in the checkout when you sign up for any of my bass lessons. And the links are down below, so you can check out what your options are. So make sure you check that out. 10% off you can get, but only during the live streams. So Lee's saying that he has a Yamaha TRB5 2 high-end. Yeah, I know the one. They're nice. But your high mids are way more defined. Yamaha known for scoop mids. That's a good question. I don't think so. But you know something, let me just try to remember the pickups on that bass. What was it? It was a 5-2. Yeah. Is this from like the late 90s? Right? So what I could yeah, I know the one. What I could tell you is, first of all, there's so many factors, right? You know, what are you playing through? What kind of rig? What kind of strings? You know, things like that, right? 2001. Yeah, okay. And then also the what kind of preamp is in the bass, the type of pickups, right? The pickup positions as well, right? So I can tell you for sure these pickups right here, and right now I'm using, I was using the bridge pickup when I was soloing, and they're like these pickups, these two right here, in the 60s jazz bass positions. So this is like a jazz bass, really, you know? It has that jazz bass kind of sound. Right? It's got that jazz bass bite to it, especially when you play up high as well. And then when playing with just the bridge pickup, it definitely has that nice growl. So, and I actually, a lot of the times, I actually have the tone control rolled off. So I have it on the more kind of warmer side as well. But in terms of how I affect my mid-range, I'm either boosting or cutting the high mids. And that's what I can do on this bass. I can select the different frequencies. I'll just pause the loop there. I can select the different frequencies of the mids. So I'll go back to so right now I've got it flat, right? And this is the high mids. So if I cut them, it definitely takes away a lot of that high end, but there's still the punchy low mids that are in there. Which is really nice. If I crank up the mids, you definitely get that more edgier, aggressive sound, which I might use, you know, if I want to really cut through when soloing against a band, you know. But I try to make sure I don't have a lot of treble going on as well. So I'll warm it up. That's what I'll do. Now, in terms of if I was to flick the switch and only affect the low mids, then so if I put it back to flat, right, and then if I cut them, it does a lot. The scoop the scooped mids is definitely more noticeable in terms of that, because I feel like there's a lot of that low end punch that drops out. For me, that's not necessarily like a usable sound in terms of the type of music that I like to play. Because it feels like that there is a piece missing. So I can bring those back up, and then if I want to boost anything, I can. And I don't typically do that with the low mids. You can hear it starts to get a little more boxy. And even just a little bit distorted as well, because it's starting to overdrive the signal, right? And a little too bah, 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 you know? But it's there if I need to. So I typically just kind of boost or cut in the high mids. That's usually what I do. In terms of going back at Yamaha known for scoop mids, I don't think so. But also at the same time, I don't entirely know. I don't know for sure. Because I've heard cats play Yamaha basses and they've had a nice top end with the bass. They've had a really nice like high mid kind of growl going on. It's really how you gotta just really dial it in terms of what you're using, and even the mid range that's on your amp as well. I'm not sure which frequencies the mid range on the Yamaha bass, what frequency it actually is boosting or cutting. I'm not too sure. So that's the thing is you gotta play around and what works. You know what I mean? You're saying you use a Mark bass. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, and you bought what you thought was a beautiful recording rig. I record entire songs doing all parts myself. I love bass, but it's not. But it's not my only thing. A lot I don't know. Yeah, when you even with a really nice recording rig, it can, if you don't know how to dial in things properly, and I've also had this experience myself when I wasn't so great at dialing in the sound, and I would be trying to put too much, especially EQ, adding too much stuff in, and so just oversaturating. It's really easy to do that, because we think that and even with plugins as well, we think that okay, if I use this plugin here, it's just going to make everything magically sound really good, which and that's how they kind of sell them to you, but it's not entirely true. Yes, there are plugins that are really great and can do some sort of magic, but you need to know how to use it and when to use them. That's the thing, and that's something that I've come across quite a lot. And in terms of in terms of recording with bass, the best thing to do is just record it very minimally. If you're just playing a nice kind of bass part, just record it. Make sure you get a good signal, good amount. You're not clipping too much. You're not under volume as well. Make sure you have a good amount of gain. Make sure you've done your gain staging on there, right? And a lot of times you can really just when you're mixing or blending with the other instruments, that's when you can do any kind of treatment with the bass. And again, you don't want to overdo things. It also just depends on what you are recording as well. Like for me, when I'm recording multiple tracks of bass, like doing different parts, like I'll do a bass part, and then I'll do like maybe 2 chordal parts, and then I'll, have a melody. It can be really easy for all of that to be standing on each other. So I try to make each part very different in terms of the tone and the timbre, and also where I'm going to play certain things too. With the chords, I kind of like to pan them. You use the stereo imaging, and maybe I might pan, one of the chordal tracks on the left side and the other one on the right side to kind of just give a different kind of spatial kind of thing. And the bass part can be like a little, more in the center. And the melody part, I can kind of play around, especially if I'm going to be using like effects on it. So that's always a challenge, is like getting all those bass parts to really kind of gel in that sense, but yeah, try, like, less is more at first, they really are. It really is. Less is more. Just get a good sound, a good source, get the playing, and then sometimes you don't have to really do a lot. If you have a really good bass tone coming through, you don't need to do a lot. And what I like to do is when I record, I like to use the preamp of, like this Aguilar, and you can't see it, but I'm also using a Trickfish Trilobite. It's a 2-channel preamp. I've got it on the ground here, and I use that as well. And that's what you're hearing. You're hearing. I'm pretty sure you might be. Yeah, so right now you're hearing the sound of just the Trickfish, which is a very super clean sound, because even though I've got the DI coming out of here, I'm running it through the pre-EQ on the DI. But if I flick the switch, then I have the Trickfish and the Aguilar. So that's what it is. And you can hear that there's 2 different sounds going on. But I do like, on this end, when I'm recording certain preamp sounds, sometimes I might get both the preamps going into my interface. Sometimes I'll just do one. And then there are times where I'll also actually just record directly into the interface. That's also a really good sound. Sometimes, depending on what you're playing, that's all you need to do. But I definitely like to have some color going on in there. It's really nice in those two together. And so that's how the way that you're hearing my bass is how I will most likely record my bass as well. This goes for all my basses except the upright bass. Upright bass, I'm only just going to use 2 microphones. I don't use the pickup because you're playing an acoustic instrument. You get the sound of the acoustic instrument. Some might say, oh, why don't you blend the two? No, because you don't need the pickup, and the pickup doesn't really bring the sound of what we're going for, So let me see. Danny Bass, plugins are a trap. They can be, and sometimes we fall for that trap, including myself. But I enjoy the plugins that I use. I have a lot of them. I haven't used them all, but I've checked them out, and they definitely have different uses. And it's nice to know that they are there. And it also reminds me of like when to exercise less is more as well. And sometimes, it can be a thing where like you're working on a track and you've got all these plugins, all these things happening, and you're just like, oh man, and then you turn some of them off, and you're like, oh, that's starting to sound better. And it's not because the plugin it sucks. It's sometimes you just don't need to have them all in there. That's the thing. And then sometimes you just turn them all off, and it's like, actually, there we go. That's the sound right there. That's pretty cool. And yeah, a lot of the stock plugins on a lot of these DAWs are really good. They really are. They're pretty high quality. And especially if you're just trying to kind of just do some basic stuff, you can still get a really good sound with them. The secret is to know how they work exactly. It really is. And sometimes you can put on a plugin and you don't necessarily need to tweak any of the knobs on them. Sometimes the sound is just running it through what it is. And that's a common thing even in with analog outboard gear, in big studios as well. Sometimes they would just run it through the processor just to get the natural sound of it as well without having to tweak anything. And sometimes you might just not, you don't have to, In experience, I didn't find a good bass amp plugin, maybe the Aguilar suite, but it still wasn't like going from an Aguilar directly into, yeah, exactly. I kind of feel the same thing too. I always like to get the sound from the source, get it from the source. And look, I will say, I haven't had a lot of experience with amp simulation and modeling, like plugins and all that. I really haven't. And I think it's because, I am used to like the real thing. That's what it is. So I haven't spent enough time to really, and also I haven't really checked out a lot. My impression was that also because I'm obviously more of a jazz guy, a lot of these plug-in and amp simulators, I feel like they're catered towards like playing rock and like pop, music and all that to get more of that kind of character, because when you look through the presets, it's kind of that kind of thing. So that's why for me, just getting this clean source, really good signal is where it's at for me so far. Lee is asking, what is your opinion on flat wound strings? I realize it probably won't help with my high mids. Not necessarily. I mean, I love flat wound strings. I use them on one of my P basses because it has that sound. What strings do you use currently, Lee? I can tell you the strings that I use are the DR high beams. All right. And I'd say those are my favorite strings to use. I absolutely love them. And these strings, these have definitely been played in quite a bit. And they sound great. They sound really nice. which is what I really like. And they feel really nice too. You know, after you've played them in, they have this nice, to me, the right amount of resistance that they really do. So yeah, I wouldn't say, you know, the flat wound strings would help you with the high mid situation. You'd probably want to go for something that is steel, nickel maybe as well. It just depends on the string. That's the thing, you know, the string will influence this kind of thing too, you know. So yeah. Yeah, he fell into the plug-in trap. Nice. Hey, Sean, what's up, man? How you doing? Sean's seen a lot of immature bass players playing plugins, and they don't like that at all. Like, I wonder why. I mean, sometimes we think we have to get a piece of equipment because somebody else was using it, and then we're like, oh man, I don't actually like this, you know, or this is not really, it's not really my thing, you know. But and I've been totally victim to that as well. Like many times. For the longest time, and this was when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I used to have a ramp on one of my basses because, you know, I saw people like, you know, Matthew Garrison and Gary Willis and Richard Bona, you know, Hadrian, you know, all these cats they had, and I really liked that kind of playing, and I figured, oh, so I need to do the same thing as well. And it's and I thought that was what I liked, and I had it on there for 4 years, and then after those 4 years, I took it off, and I was like, oh man, this is way better without it. And it felt like I lifted off like a restriction. It was really weird. Some people say for some people, it's actually a really good tool to use, a really good thing. But for me, and it could be just because I have a double jointed thumb, you know, I need my thumb to sit in this hole, which is the ramp prevents you from doing. And I need to have this. And it could be, I don't know, because being an upright bass player, my thumb, you know, is hooked underneath that fingerboard. So I'm used to my thumb just, you know, being in a place, a spot, you know, and typically over here. On this bass here, I can see, and you won't be able to see, but so this is this is a matte finish on this bass. And absolutely beautiful, but I can definitely see, you know, and I've had this bass for, you know, it'll be, I've had this bass for, I think, 4 years now, and already I can see, you know, where my thumb is wearing in on this part over here. So it's going to be cool to see what this bass looks like, and especially with the fingerboard and all that in like 10 years, what this bass is going to look like in terms of like with it being played in. I'm definitely excited because I definitely like the way, you know, some of the road worn kind of, I'm into that, you know, when it's done naturally, you know. Yes, I'm very careful with this bass not to get any dings on it or anything, and I've been really good. My groove lines, they have a few dings on it, but this bass I'm definitely a little more careful, but I want the playing to do the wear the wear and tear. I'm gonna play along to something shortly. I just want to catch up on the chat here. Danny is saying, I understand why you think that's mostly towards rock bass players, but on the other hand, I have some Neural DSP plugins. Nice. The Corey Wong plugin. Tried the John Mayer, and they're great sound. That's what I heard. My buddy Nick Granville, who's an excellent guitar player, who sometimes hangs out here in the chat, he uses those. He's really into using like the fractal and the neural DSP, and he's quite the aficionado with those kinds of things. But also, we'll use an amp. We'll use amps as well when it's when he wants to, or when he wants to get that real amp sound. But he goes between both worlds. I might play something from the field book, actually. Do a bit of both. Let's see, is that correct there? Yeah. Let's see what new tunes they got in here. Yeah. For guitar, for bass, it's a different story. Tried many, but they didn't feel like a proper amp for bass. Hey, I knew you were cheating somehow. It's like when the relic happens naturally and not paying $2,000 for more someone to hit your guitar off a rails. Yeah, no. Now I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want that. Oh man, that's hilarious. Folks, if you've just been joining on, kind of, sifting in and out here, I just want to say welcome. Usually I do this on a Tuesday, but it's Wednesday this week. I was busy on Tuesday. But if you have any questions, throw it down in the chat. Anything to do with bass playing. And what I'm doing for the whole month of August, whenever I go live, I have my lessons. My lessons. So if a one-on-one lesson or my bass coaching program, you can sign up for those at a 10% discount. Just use the code LIVE10 at checkout. But you can use that code whenever I'm live here on my live streams, and you can get that discount on there. So that's a nice little kind of thing going on. And all those links are down in the description box as well. So make sure you go and check those out. Hey Jared, how you doing? Do you prefer the tone hammer or the AG? I saw you playing the tone hammer a couple of streams ago. Yeah, I do. I like both. I like the sound of both. I would say I definitely prefer the AG, just because it's catered towards being really clean and really fast. So I love the AG. It's definitely the one that I gravitate towards in something, especially when playing live. This is an AG 700, so there's a lot of power, and I can really push it, and it doesn't. It handles it, which is incredible, and has a lot of power, a lot of great tone in there. And I really feel, especially when I've got it cranked up, and I can really feel the response like super instantly. The tone hammer, which is, from what I understand, is designed to be more of an emulation of a vintage amp, something with like tubes. It has a great sound, but the only thing about it, and it could just be my one, I've had mine for a very long time, and it's just been beat up. But it still pumps out pretty nicely. When you crank it up, it starts to break up, which is not a sound I need at all. So, and especially if you're in a loud situation, trying to take a solo, it just sounds like you're using a fuzz pedal, and it doesn't work for me. I've been enjoying using it on like lower volume gigs, or lower to medium volume gigs, where I don't need to push it very hard, because it does have a nice sound. but I definitely prefer this. This is my whole thing with and this is me, all right? My whole thing with tube bass amps is that I'm not into, I just can't hang. I'm not into that mushy kind of sound. I'm not into that breakup kind of sound. I need something that is fast and that is very responsive, because it affects my attack when I'm playing through like a tube bass, something like an Ampeg or whatever, something with a tube preamp. It affects the way that I play. Now, I don't mind using something that is tube for like post-production, something afterwards, but in terms of like a bass rig, no. It needs to be full-on, like super clean, powerful, solid state. That's just my sound. That's just my vibe. And for what I do, I rely on something that is very fast. Let's see. Yeah, let's play Bright Side's Life. Why not? Good old Pat Metheny. We love Pat here. Let's have a go. All right, Pat. I'm like, what's the count off? Thank you, Pat, for writing such a beautiful tune. You know, he was like 17 or 18 when he wrote that tune. When he did, you know, when he did that record, Bright Side's Life. You know, Jocko and Bob Moses. I mean, this was before Jocko had done his debut album as well. But the three of them, they had been playing together. I mean, this was Pat's trio. They'd been playing a lot on the East Coast, especially, you know, down in Florida, Miami, you know, and then going up to New York. And there's a few people that I've talked to who saw that trio before they even did that album, and they said that was just some of the just absolute finest, groundbreaking stuff that they'd ever heard. It was totally ahead of its time. I mean, especially like they're like, man, this bass player, like with like what, like he's playing this fretless bass, and like just the sounds that he's just getting on it is just absolutely just insane. People hadn't heard that kind of thing before, which is so cool. I'm gonna play another tune here. Play a Dizzy Gillespie tune. Con Alma. This has some nice changes on it. Nice, and it's cool to hear like the rhythmic interplay on this backing track as well, which is super cool. Who are the players on that one? Oh, of course. I mean, that's Ari Honig on drums, and that was Matt Penman on bass. Another Kiwi, Glenn Zaleski on piano. So it's like, of course, that's why I was like had this nice kind of ebb and flow to it, and going between, because this is a like a 12/8 kind of vibe, 2 to 3 to 4, 1 to 1 to 3, 1 to 3, 1 to 3, right? But they also go into this big 3, 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 which is really cool, going between those two different kind of feels and meters. I'm gonna play something where I get to play some bass. I'm learning some music right now for I might play a few tunes, and now I might have to call it a night because I am kind of tired and it's kind of late. But I'm playing. I'm learning some music for a gig coming up where we're playing the music of Janet Jackson, which is a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of her hits, stuff from like the late 80s, throughout the 90s, and so I'm gonna play a Janet tune. Although this version I'm gonna play along to. We're not doing this one on the gig. Sadly, I do like this tune, but I'm gonna play this version, which is actually by a really great jazz singer. I think she's based in Atlanta, but I really like this version that she did years ago. With my good buddy Terry Gully on drums. This is probably maybe 20 plus years ago they did this now. Because I remember when I played it for him, I was giving him a ride somewhere. Where we were going? We were going to... that's right. We were driving to In-N-Out Burger. And so he got in the car and I started playing this, and he was like, wait, I know. It's like, he's like, man, what do you know about this? It's hilarious, man. So I'm gonna play this version. This is a Janet Jackson tune, but it's not Janet's version. This is Alison Crockett's version of When I Think of You. It's a short but sweet little version of that. It's kind of fun. It's a little tricky, the chord progression. You almost want to go, go to from the, that B sus to the D, Oh, was it? Such a hip chord progression, but I love it. It's so fun. Let's see. Oops. I'm going to play one more tune and then I'm going to call it. Speaking of Terry on Gully, maybe I'll play one of his tunes, actually. I just got to get the chart. Get the chart. All right, where's the chart? It is To go into the many folders to find it. Alright. Here we go. It's called Tanktified. Whatever that means. Well, his nickname is Tank. Tarion Tank Gully. But, you know, I always just called him Tarion. Which I think he was totally fine with. This has some interesting mixed meter changes. Anyway, we'll give it a go. See what happens. Yeah, that's got some twists and turns, you know. Oh. Oh. You know, there's quadruplets over the 6/4 measure. Anyway, that's called Tanktified by Tyrion Gully. We got here. Hey, Gil, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for checking out the videos. Yeah, that was from the gig a few weeks ago now. That was a lot of fun. Really, really fun. Yeah, we played Got a Match. Like, it ended up being like way too fast, but it was a lot of fun. It was hilarious. I loved it. So yeah, Aaron, how you doing? So you've been studying with Jeff Berlin. Nice. He's a huge advocate of practicing improvisation largely out of time in order to promote deeper learning, but I noticed that it doesn't always translate to better performance. I've learned a ton practicing this way, but I want to feel more of a sense of mastery over things I've played for a long time, and it makes me wonder if all this out of time work is insufficient. Thoughts? Yeah, practicing improvisation, I think, if you're going to do it out of time, is if you're doing it freely to get, some sort of harmonic concept down. So, for example, if I'm just doing, let's just say I'm just going to play some chords real freely, out of time, like rubato kind of ish, So there is a benefit to doing it that way, but also there is then there's the other side of it where, yeah, you want to be able to know how to play in time with some sort of good time source, and to be able to bring out some good rhythmic kind of diversity and delivery as well. I'll give you an example. Let me put on something here that has, say if we're just playing like over like Autumn Leaves or something with some nice time, which is always, which I say is always good. I'd say when I'm practicing, I always practice to something with that is in time, because I want to be able to feel any harmonic rhythms go by. I want to have some sort of way to be able to influence the phrases that I play, and I think it's always good to have a bit of the best of both worlds, but definitely in our case, where majority of the time, where if we're going to be improvising, we're going to be doing it majority in time or something, right? And you want to be able to have a good sense. That's like real loud. Oops. You know, there's always, I'm always feeling the rhythm behind me to help me influence how I want to phrase things, where I want to play, if I want to play like in front or on, or if I want to play behind, you know? That's something that I do like to practice. And I do encourage you to practice, you know, with time, where the, you know, is manipulating where the beat is. Because not everything is always going to be center. There are times where you got to stretch, you got to push and pull, you got to ebb and flow. You got to know how to do that as well. That's what you can do in your phrases to make them interesting, to kind of really help tell the story of what you're playing, you know? So what you're saying here, you're saying you don't feel like your time feels bad or anything like that. Okay, it's more, you feel like that your mind can't keep up in time once things get fast enough. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. You know, we here, I'll play something fast. I'll play something fast. I'll play All the Things You Are. That's like a little faster, right? And there's something about, you know, the use of space and letting things go by. And this is a whole thing of like, yeah, you do want to, with the time, feel where the form is, obviously. But in terms of what you're playing, you don't always need to like play over every single chord change. You can let some things go by, and I'll demonstrate that. Turn the track down. You know, you can definitely, you don't have to keep things being busy. You know, I would do bits and whatever. You know, it's also me trying to like, you know, as I'm like kind of falling asleep, trying to keep up. But it's really cool to be able to just play stuff rhythmically, you know, doing hemiolas and playing, you know, the playing over the bar line kind of stuff, and taking even just simple ideas. It doesn't always need to be these like, and, you know, part of this is that, you know, you really got to know the tunes. You know, you really have to know them inside out. That's the thing. I've been playing a lot of these standards for like, you know, close to 20 years, in all kinds of capacities. And so it's really about, you know, understanding the tunes and the changes behind them, and knowing when to play and when to let some stuff just go by. It's totally cool to do that. It's like taking a breath, taking a breather, you know, pause for thought, that kind of thing, you know. And Aaron saying, I definitely know what you mean, considering this has been one of my woodshed tunes for a while. I think it can be easy as a student to want to outline everything, but giving more breathing room would help. Yeah, absolutely, Aaron. You know, just like let things go by. You know, it's totally, especially when you got a burning rhythm section underneath you. You know, like, and that's the cool thing on a fast tune, is that you don't need to you don't have to shred. You know, you can just, you know, let things just carry it for you. You know, let the band carry you. You know, that's the thing. So. You know, like just get into like, you know, really like fun ideas like that really go places. Take a simple idea and see how you can develop it, you know. And yes, you know, you want to know how to outline the changes as well, but you also want to be able to like take something simple and be able to let it go really fast, especially on something like this. It's a good way of like preserving your chops and not having to like give it all in like, you know, the first chorus, and then like you get to the second chorus and you're like out of breath, you know. That used to be me. I'll answer one more question here, and then I'm going to get out of here because it's late for me. Hey, Asinoit. Let's see. Hi, Benji. Can I ask, where's your signal going after the bass? Do you use effect or preamp direct to sound card? Do you use compressor? It sounds good and clean. Thank you. I'm glad it sounds great on your end. Yeah, so this is, you're hearing my bass through. I've got my pedals down here. There is a compressor on right now, and I use that to kind of just tame the peaks a bit. And it's an Aguilar TLC compressor. And then it's going through a Trickfish Trilobite preamp, which is, I use this, I use it every time I play on every gig. Upright bass guitars, everything. It's an important piece of equipment that is part of my rig. And then that's going into the Aguilar AG700, and then this is going into my Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, and that's how you're hearing it. And that's the key thing, is that you want to get a good source, and then so that when you hear it on your end, it's sounding good. And you know, depending on your instrument and depending on how you play and how you can dial in the tone, you don't really need to do much, you know. Sometimes, you know, with bass players, especially some young cats, they tend to use too much mids because it's a way for them to kind of hear clarity of the note. But what happens is that when you use too much mids, your ears get used to that, and you start to rely on that as a crutch. And so there's a lot of young cats I've had, you know, and look, I'm guilty of this when I was a young cat. You crank up the mids, and then your sound is too bah, 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 bah. And when they go back to flat or they cut the mids, they can't hear, they can't do it. So you gotta develop that touch and that tone and that sound with the instrument in its real kind of basic state without having to add a whole lot to it. And that's why I love to practice the bass unplugged as well. I love to get the sound acoustically. And again, it's probably because I'm also an upright bass player. I've worked on getting my sound acoustically, but definitely with the bass guitar, I love practicing the instrument without it being plugged in, because that's a good way for me to work on the hearing the source, hearing the tone acoustically. So you put in a great sound going in, and that's what you're going to get. You can have all this really nice gear and everything, but if you don't have a good sound, if you don't have a good touch to it, then it's going to amplify that even more. It's as simple as that. It really is. And also, you know, this bass is, you know, it is a very clean bass as well. But again, you know, it wouldn't be any different, you know, if I was to pick up any of my other basses or somebody else's bass as well. It's, you know, your intention of how you play, the tone that you go for. So yeah. Anyway, folks, I gotta go. It's late for me, but I appreciate you hanging out. Thank you so much. Really great to see you on here. Thank you. I will be back live in 2 days' time. At the end of the week, I'll be live again here. All right, for my usual one where I've had where I'll be drinking some coffee as well and caffeinated. So yes, my manager here is saying, "All right, time to wrap up." In other words, my wife. Which yeah, but thank you, folks. I appreciate it. Hey, don't forget, you can get 10% off any lessons with me. All right, one-on-one lessons. Just use the code LIVE10 at checkout. The links are down below in the description box. And again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. And that way you can know whenever I go live or post anything on my channel here. Thank you so much. You all take care. I'll see you again in a few days. So wherever you are, all the best. I'll see you soon. All right? Take care, everyone.